going on in the WNBA executive offices. If there is no worry, oh, people aren't going to turn off, oh, people are still going to show up. If that was the thought that they were having up there in WNBA La La Land, well, now might be the time to hit the panic button. 48 hours after news hits that Caitlin Clark is injured and she'll be missing 2 weeks, the market has responded and the market has told the WNBA,
no doubt that's about to happen. The WNBA teams that move their games, this is about to be catastrophic.
Trouble just found the WNBA, and it's bigger than anyone expected. Caitlin Clark's quad injury isn't just bad news. It's a nightmare unfolding in real time. Arenas that upgraded to bigger venues just to host her games? Get ready for rows and rows of empty seats. And it's not just about seating anymore. Some fans are walking away from the league entirely, refusing to watch, refusing to buy tickets, done for good. So here's the real question. Is this loyalty or is it panic? Would you boycott a league you love just because your favorite player is sidelined?
But we don't want this. What am I talking about? Indiana Fever ticket prices to games over the next 2 weeks have dropped 42% since Caitlin Clark's injury announcement, an average ticket price of $137.
Talk about bad timing. The WNBA could not have picked a worse moment for this. And honestly, a lot of people think they brought it on themselves. Caitlin Clark, the one player keeping ratings alive and seats filled, is out right now with a quad injury. And here's the twist. This is a league that spent months trying to downplay her impact. Well, now they're about to find out exactly what happens when their biggest draw disappears.
I don't know when it happened. I know afterwards, we got a message that she had something going on with her leg, and we were getting an MRI, and then we got the yesterday.
Was it after the Liberty game on Saturday?
Is that her last game?
Yeah.
Yes.
Steph, you had a chance to try out
Let's break down what's really going on here. Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White says Clark could be reevaluated in 2 weeks. Sounds simple, right? But anyone who knows quad injuries knows that timeline is more hope than fact. The real number being thrown around? 2 to 6 weeks. That's not a quick tweak or a shake it off situation. That's a genuine injury, and injuries like this don't care about anyone's schedule. And this is where it gets messy. Teams didn't just plan around Clark, they bet big on her. The Washington Mystics moved their game against Indiana to a bigger arena in Baltimore, one that seats 15,000 fans. Chicago Sky shifted their matchup to the United Center. Dallas moved their game to the American Airlines Center, home of the Mavericks. These weren't small decisions. We're talking marketing budgets, extra security, extra staff, and expensive venue rentals, all built around one player's drawing power.
Yeah, I don't know how things work in pretend basketball. I don't know the history of transparency when it comes to timelines for injury returns in the WNBA. But I do know in the NBA, teams are rarely transparent with injuries. When the Pelicans say Zion Williamson will be reevaluated in 2 weeks...
Taking it too far. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss what happens next in this story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're the first to know when we break down the next update. Caitlin Clark is hurt again. A quad injury has put her on the sidelines, and the fallout is already spreading fast. Teams that upgraded their venues, expecting massive crowds because of her, are now staring down a very different reality. Thousands of empty seats. Fans are canceling plans. Fans are dumping tickets. Some are walking away from the league completely until she's back on the floor. So let's ask the real question here. Is this an overreaction from fans? Or is the WNBA finally paying the price for how they've handled their biggest star? Let's slow down and look at the actual facts. Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White says Clark could be reevaluated in about 2 weeks. That sounds reasonable on paper. But anyone who's dealt with a quad injury knows 2 weeks is the best-case scenario, not the likely one. Most estimates put her recovery timeline somewhere between 2 and 6 weeks. This isn't a tweak. This isn't something you shake off after a few days of rest. This is a real muscle injury, and real injuries take real time. And here's where the story gets a lot more interesting and a lot messier for the league. Several teams didn't just plan around Clark showing up. They gambled on it. The Washington Mystics moved their game against Indiana out of their normal arena and into a bigger venue in Baltimore, one that holds around 15,000 fans. Chicago Sky shifted their matchup to the United Center, one of the biggest arenas in the country. Dallas moved their game to the American Airlines Center, home of the Mavericks. These weren't small, casual decisions. Teams spent money on marketing pushes, extra security, additional staffing, and expensive venue rental fees, all built on the assumption that one player would fill those seats. Now those same teams are bracing for what might be some of the emptiest arenas they've seen in years. And the fans aren't being quiet about their frustration. Social media is full of people saying they're selling their tickets, canceling road trips, or simply refusing to watch until Clark returns. One fan said they were getting rid of their Fever vs. Mystics tickets because they didn't want to travel from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore for a game that no longer had the player they wanted to see. Another said they'd only watch on delay, specifically so their viewership wouldn't count toward the league's live ratings. This isn't just a few angry posts here and there. This is an organized, intentional response from a group of fans who feel like their favorite player hasn't been respected by the league she plays in. And let's be honest about where this anger is really coming from. It's not just about one injury. It's about how the WNBA has handled Clark's entire rise from day one. There's been this strange tug-of-war happening behind the scenes. The league wants to benefit from her popularity, but at the same time, there's been a constant push to downplay just how much of an impact she's actually had. Players and analysts kept bringing up the idea that the spotlight needed to be shared, that other players deserved just as much attention. And look, that's a fair conversation to have in theory. But here's the problem. You can't build your entire marketing strategy around someone and then act surprised when their absence creates a massive hole. Because when Clark plays, the numbers speak for themselves. Games that used to bring in around 200,000 viewers suddenly pulled in over 1 million. Arenas that once struggled to sell 5,000 tickets were selling out 20,000-seat buildings. That's not a small bump. That's a complete transformation of the league's business. And instead of fully embracing that reality, there's been this ongoing discomfort with just how much power one player was holding. Instead of saying, "She changed everything for us," the league kept trying to make the story about everyone equally. Well, now they're about to find out, in very real numbers, what happens without her. And that brings up another uncomfortable question. Was Clark brought back too fast after already dealing with quad issues in the preseason? In a league with a short season and physical, sometimes rough play, protecting your most valuable player should be priority number one. Instead, we're looking at a situation where the league's biggest financial engine might be out for a significant chunk of the year. From a pure business standpoint, that's a disaster waiting to happen. Think about the timing here. The WNBA was finally building real momentum. TV deals were getting stronger. Mainstream media outlets were paying attention in a way they never had before. Sponsors were lining up. And a huge part of that growth was built on Clark's ability to pull in casual fans. People who don't necessarily follow women's basketball closely, but tuned in because of her. Here's the thing about those casual fans, though. They don't have deep loyalty to a specific team or a rivalry. They're not watching Washington play Chicago just because it's good basketball. They tuned in because one player caught their attention. Take that player away, and a lot of that audience disappears with her. That's not a slight against the other talented players in the league. That's simply how star power works in every professional sport. This is going to hit especially hard when it comes to attendance. Moving a game from a 7,000-seat arena to a 20,000-seat stadium is a big gamble. Teams made that move expecting high demand, expecting sold-out crowds, expecting a serious payoff. Now they might be looking at rows of empty seats instead. And with all the extra costs from switching venues, the financial hit could be brutal. Worse than the money, though, is the optics. Television cameras panning across half-empty arenas that were supposed to be packed sends a very clear message about the league's real drawing power without its top attraction. And sponsors notice that. TV executives notice that. It could shape decisions and deals for a long time to come. What makes this even more frustrating is that so much of it was avoidable. The WNBA had a golden opportunity here. Ride Clark's popularity while using it to build up the rest of the league at the same time. Instead, her success often seemed to be treated more like a problem to manage than a gift to embrace. There's been this odd hesitation to just fully accept everything she's brought to the table. And this fan reaction, this is the direct result of that hesitation. If you spend months telling people their favorite player isn't the reason everything is working, don't be shocked when they decide to tune out the moment she's not playing. Some people will say boycotting games is too extreme. They'll argue fans should still support the league and the other athletes regardless of who's injured. But that argument misses something important. A lot of these fans didn't become WNBA fans first and then discover Clark. It happened the other way around. They became fans of her, and the WNBA just happened to be where she played. That's a completely different type of fandom, and the league had a real chance to convert those fans into long-term supporters of the sport as a whole. But that takes actual effort, genuine outreach, genuine storytelling. Instead, it seems like the assumption was that once people started watching, they'd automatically fall in love with everything else too. That's just not how casual sports fandom works. And the financial ripple effects go beyond just tickets and TV ratings. Merchandise sales will likely take a hit. Sponsorship activations become a lot harder to justify when your biggest name isn't on the court. Media coverage naturally drops without her storylines to follow. Every part of the league's business model gets touched by this. Here's the part that stings the most. This entire situation might have been prevented. Smarter load management, stronger injury prevention protocols, maybe just not rushing her back too soon after that earlier quad issue. Any of that could have changed the outcome. But the pressure to cash in on her popularity right now may have pushed decisions that prioritized short-term gain over long-term health. And the timing couldn't be worse. The league was finally gaining real traction, and sustaining that kind of growth requires consistency. You can't expect to keep a casual audience engaged if your biggest star keeps disappearing for weeks at a time. Those viewers won't just wait around. They'll move on to something else. So now the real test begins. Does the league finally acknowledge just how much Clark means to their business? Or do they keep pushing the idea that no single player is bigger than the WNBA as a whole? That argument is about to get a lot harder to defend once the attendance numbers and TV ratings start rolling in over the next few weeks. There's something almost ironic about all of this. The league spent so much energy trying to prove Clark wasn't essential to their success. Well, now they're getting the perfect chance to prove exactly that, and early signs suggest it's not going to go the way they hoped. This boycott movement isn't just about one injury. It's about fans who feel like the player who brought them into this sport hasn't been given the respect she deserves. Mix that frustration with an audience that mostly tuned in for one specific player, and you've got a perfect storm heading straight for the league. The teams that bet big on Clark's drawing power are about to learn just how risky that bet really was. Bigger arenas, bigger marketing budgets, bigger expectations, all built around her presence. Without her, those decisions could turn into expensive lessons about what happens when you build your entire plan around a single player without a real backup strategy. The WNBA is about to get a crash course in star power, whether they're ready for it or not. Without their biggest attraction on the floor, we're going to see exactly what their ratings, their attendance, and their media coverage look like on their own. And based on everything we've seen so far from fans, those numbers are not going to be pretty. This moment says a lot about the ongoing debate in women's basketball, individual star power versus growing the league as a whole. This injury is about to give us the clearest answer yet. The numbers don't lie, and they're about to show exactly who's really driving interest in this league. So here's the big question for you. Do you think this boycott is justified, or are fans